Been feeling disconnected now.
I get money, now I'm reckless now.
I get high, coming off the ground. This life is a prison, someone let me out. Alright, I think I'm good.
Okay. It's been a while since we've been here, man.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Life.
It's been a while. Remember that song?
No, what was that a reference to?
It's a song. It's been a while. I don't even know who
you're
sings it,
talking.
honestly.
You know who you're talking to, right?
You've heard that song.
The Martian himself.
You've heard that song. It's been a while since I last saw your bed. I don't know the words even. I just know I just know the cadence.
Clue. I feel like I'm playing that game right now with you last week or whatever week it was, last episode.
Yeah, last time we were here. Hey everybody, welcome back to a soggy bag of earthworms. I am your host, Boopity Scoopity, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Ashton Kutcher.
My name is Seymour Butts, actually. It's not Ashton Kutcher.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to see your butt.
Just see
DM
more
me
of
now.
them, you know. Just see more. I think we could all use that, is just seeing more butts. Like, not necessarily all the butts, but definitely not only a few. More butts.
How many people do you think have legally changed their name to like something funny like that, like a Mike Hawk or Seymour Butts or Oliver Clothes Off?
I think more than I would guess. If somebody put a gun to my head and like asked me for like a number, I'd probably guess something and it would turn out to be twice that. That's what I think in my mind.
That's the cool thing that I'm thinking about right now is that like there's some fucking crazy shit. And there's always people out there that have done it because the population of the earth is just so much. Like my boss, well, he's a big like car guy. He's a big jet ski guy. And you know, there's forums out there with people who like jet skis.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it doesn't sound far-fetched now that I'm saying it, but it does to me actually. Cuz like, you know, there's just guys just chilling on their jet ski forums like, you know, trading parts and trying to find pieces and just talking about jet ski things. And it's like, wow, there's literally a niche for everybody on the internet. And jet skis aren't the most oddball things, but like, you know, to me, like,
no, I actually think that's a fairly normal thing. I mean, I think it's weirder if you're into something so specific that I wouldn't even consider it a normal hobby for anybody to have. Like jet
a My
skiing,
Little Pony, like.
No, I mean, I
Crush
even get
porn.
that.
No, but crush
even
porn,
get
like
that.
where they step on, like they draw My Little Ponies and they step on like baby rabbits or mice.
No, yeah, no, I get that. Like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
perfect,
we're
right.
all doing that, but like, I'm thinking about people that like to, I don't know, that are really into shoelaces specifically, and not even for fashion. They're just like into the industry of shoelaces. Like they just like how they're made and assembled, and they get off on that. Like obviously not sexually, maybe sexually. I don't know what people's relationship is with shoelaces, but there are definitely people like trains. Trains are a big one. Trains are
What?
my favorite.
Sexual trains? Or
No.
trains?
Like people
Like
that are
trained people.
people that are into trains are great. They're wonderful folks.
Great.
They're wonderful folks. Those are my favorite videos. If you ever, viewing audience, if you ever want to treat yourself to something that will warm your heart instantaneously, watch people get really excited about trains. There's tons of videos on the internet of people that are just, that's their hobby, that's their passion. They love trains. They're super into them. So they will wait by train tracks because they know the schedule. So they know this particular model of train is coming. So they'll wait at the train tracks for like 3 hours for that train to come by, and they'll film it as it goes by. And you hear them in the background just losing their shit over a train.
That's sweet as hell. That thing, I'm literally about to tear up. That's so sweet.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Just people getting true joy out of something that I would see and not think twice about.
I was about to ask you, like, how do you even, like, you can't have a train. I mean, I guess you can. Like, I was just wondering, like, how are you into it if you can't, like, you know, have a train or work on your train or own it? But that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like
really
the
cute, like I
machine,
said.
you know, they're into the machine itself. They think it's so cool how that works. I think there's definitely plane people that are just really into planes. Obviously, people have their own planes. Like that's not
And you can
super
fly model
far-fetched.
airplanes too.
Yeah, you can fly model airplanes. I mean, but there are people like it's not super far-fetched to get your own plane. Like they're not nearly as expensive as something like a train would
And
be.
you don't have to be on a train track.
Yeah, you don't need tracks. I feel like that's the expense. Like you're thinking
Yo,
about buying your own train, and then you're like, man, it's only like $30,000 for a fucking train. This is a steal. And then you forget that you can't take it anywhere until you put down tracks.
you know how we're just talking about how there's someone on the internet, usually someone on the internet that's doing something, or someone out there that's doing something.
Yeah.
What millionaire or billionaire has their own like train track? I'm wondering right now, who like there's gotta be somebody out there that just has their own personal track that they just fucking ride.
Oh,
Like a big
for
ass
sure.
racetrack oval. And I've never actually thought about that until now, and that's kind of making me smile because like what the fuck?
I don't think it's an American thing. I don't think American rich people are doing that. I think American rich people are into way vainer seeming things, things that seem more vain. Like, oh, I want, a private jet with champagne and models. Like, that's the type of shit they're trying to get. But I feel like some Saudi Arabian prince or maybe
Yeah, I
like
can so see that.
a Russian oligarch,
I
they're
was gonna say
they're
Russian
just
as
like
well.
some old dude that's like, I want a train and I have more money than God, so fuck it, I'm buying a train, setting up tracks, and just riding my train around all by myself.
I wonder how much a train is though, but fuck.
I bet it's not that expensive.
You remember we're trying to find a private island, like a private island
Yeah.
to buy? They're not. Sometimes they're not that expensive, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
then you gotta like fucking not colonize it, but like if you want to live there, I think you'd have to do some infrastructural work.
that's the whole expense, really. I think a lot of those types of things, if you look at face value, they seem inexpensive. Like you can buy a fucking tank for $30,000.
Really?
It's insane. And
Why is it that cheap?
it's that cheap because there's
Why
so
is
many
it-
other things that go into owning a tank. Like, do you know what type of fuel tanks take? I don't.
Not a clue.
I have no idea. And the permits you need to own and operate a tank are probably like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'd be willing to bet, at least. I don't know. I'm not a tank owner myself, and
Probably
nor
could
do
not
I
go on
plan
any
to be.
roads. What roads would you go on? You'd take up the whole fucking thing.
You can't go on roads. I mean, I know Arnold Schwarzenegger has a tank.
Does he actually?
He's a guy I know for sure that has one. Like it's a decommissioned, from the lore, from the story, it's like the tank, because he used to be like in the Austrian military, I guess. Maybe I'm getting this wrong, or maybe it's just like it is an Austrian military tank that he owns. But I think the lore that I heard was that he was at one point as a young man in the Austrian infantry, and it's the tank that he was a gunner on.
That's hype. He's like, I want that shit back now.
Right. I don't know how true that is, though. That could just be some made-up internet nonsense.
Whale people, okay, so I just watched the whale documentary, or I'm watching like the whale documentary that just dropped by Disney Plus. I guess National Geographic on Disney Plus. Whales fucking creep me out. Like I really like them, but I really just don't like, cause they're so fucking intelligent, but they're so big. And it does not like much of a valid point for me, but like I don't know, the ocean's just creepy as fuck, and like they're just giant ass fucking sentient beings, just like
I really thought you were going somewhere with that.
no, I'm really not, but like they're just
They're
fucking
so
weird. Like,
big, but they're smart. Huh.
they're just oh my god.
I mean,
like,
so are elephants. Elephants are smart as fuck.
yeah, but I don't know. Living in the ocean just seems so boring to me.
I don't know. It depends what you got going on down there. Like if you got a family, if you're in a intramural softball league,
The fucking
maybe you
it
got
just hurt.
you got things to do.
There's one segment on it where the grandma orca killer whale was teaching its grandkids how to hunt on the shore. They would go from the surf to the shore and catch these sea lions. And so the grandma went to the shore to catch a sea lion, but only to practice on it with her grandkids how to like handle the sea lion.
Yeah.
So she brought the sea lion out to open sea, and then the three kids were taking turns throwing it in the air and catching it, and throwing it in the air and catching it, and throwing it in the air and catching it. I'm like, holy fuck! Like, I know they're not stupid, but like, wow, like they're literally practicing.
Yeah, they're in
And that
the
shit
they're
was
in the upper echelon of intelligent animals. It's like
for
whales,
real.
dolphins, um, and then you got like obviously chimpanzees. But then have I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast. I probably have because it's one of the most fascinating things I've heard in a very, very long time. But have I talked to you about octopi?
Mm, no, the plural just makes me laugh. But I
Fucking
know they're fucking intelligent
dude,
motherfuckers.
dude. I'm about to hit you with some shit right now.
Hit me with
I'm
some
about to
shit right
hit you
now.
with some real
Not
shit.
not literal shit though, but metaphorical. Shit,
No,
please.
no, that's
Please,
chimpanzees.
please.
We've passed them over.
Or both, because you know I'm into scat. I mean, what?
I mean,
Hey,
we all know that about you, Mikey. We all know that. You know, I'm into sucking toes. You're into eating poop. Like, we all got our things. But octopi, cephalopods, to be more general,
Squidwards.
Squidwards. That's like the scientific term, the genus.
Squidwardicus.
Maximus. Yeah. That always ends up being it. No, cephalopods. There is a theory that is not. I don't know how generally accepted it actually is in the scientific community, but a buddy of mine who's really up to date and in the know with topics in science, he informed me of this, is that every creature on Earth shares genetic information because we're all from one single common ancestor. A single celled organism, became
Bacteria or some
yeah
shit.
became a multi-celled organism. Whatever meiosis, whichever one of that is, and then it spawned off into all these different things and became different things, and that's what we have today as our ecosystem. But so just to put that into context, like a fucking yeast, yeast.
Bacteria.
Yeah, we have genetic information that we share with yeast. We share genetic information with bananas. We share it with,
So fucking cool.
with beetles, like whatever it may be, any living organism, we share information with them. Cephalopods, however, are the only animals on this planet that share no genetic information with any other animal.
I find that hard to believe, but I guess I'll have to take your word.
Because I looked it up. I looked
know.
very deeply into this afterwards because like I was blown away by it myself. And a lot of the sources that I saw, the ones that were questioning the theory of them being aliens, which is the theory that I'm going to be referring to, is that potentially they are from another planet because they don't share genetic information with anything else on this planet, and that's super unusual because every other species does.
That's
share.
really fucking unusual, and I feel like that should be talked about more because like they must have had, like you said, come from another planet, branch off from a different protozoa, bacteria, whatever that we all evolved from, and that's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
Because
so
I've been on this evolution kick, this nature documentary kick, and I've been watching shows about like leaps in evolution and shit, and it's really fucking interesting. But
Yeah.
I would have never heard of that.
Well, I mean, because the only two options that we're looking at there is that either when that original single-celled organism spawned off and became all these different species, like humans and plants and whatever, there was another one that just became squids and octopi. That is one possibility, which seems crazy, that there were two single-celled organisms,
Yeah.
and one became most shit and one became octopi. Like, that's nuts. Or they are from another planet in some way, shape, or form. And all the sources that I've looked into this topic on all kind of say, like, they all are either just like, that's nuts, isn't it? Like, that's crazy. Or it's like a scientist that's like, referring to this, and he's saying like, it is pretty nutty that, that this is the case with cephalopods, but like, I think it's kind of a reach to say that it's because they're from another planet. Like, there are other explanations that are more based in science and reality, but it's not something we can really prove either way. It's something to be researched, certainly, but what's so interesting about it to me is that octopi are becoming more recognized as the smartest animal. Like the
They're fucking
smartest.
smart. They're really fucking smart.
Really fucking smart.
I was like I said on my nature doc kick. I was watching a lot of shit about parrots too, and they are so intriguing too. Their intelligence is they're one of the most intelligent species out there, besides dolphins, whales, and octopi. And like I would want one at some point, but you need to spend hours with them a day. Like they're a really social creature, so you need to spend like 5 hours with them, like at least just talking to them. And the fact that
Who's
they can
got
mimic
that kind of time?
that's what I'm saying. I mean, like I would ideally like I want a pet at some point. But like a parrot would be so fucking cool, and then it would just talk to you like, pretty girl, kiss me, and then give me like kisses and shit. Like not actually real kisses, but it would make the noise. They're smart. They know though,
Yeah, no,
and they have like 70-year lifespans at sometimes.
no, that is pretty nuts.
As a science nerd, as a deep down science guy nerd, I'm glad you told me that theory. That's fucking cool as hell.
Yeah, look into it because it is bonkers, dude. It's fucking bonkers, and that's just kind of goes to show that we know so little about the ocean. That's what that speaks to me, is that there is so much about the ocean we obviously have no idea is out there. Like they are consistently finding record-breaking things in the ocean. Just talking about age specifically, like I think very recently they found the oldest living fish, which was a shark.
Yeah.
And he was like 300 years old. It was fucking nuts. Like, how can something live that long? How can a fish live that long? Like, there are some species of jellyfish that are technically immortal. There are, they found like the longest, or the animal with the longest life thus far, and it was like a clam, and it had lived like, I don't know, like 2,000 years or something.
That clam was watching Jesus fucking get nailed on the cross. He was like, damn.
Damn, this is crazy shit.
What are these fucking humans up to?
Man, if that clam could talk, the stories he'd have.
Yeah, dude. The clam would have a fuck ton of stories.
Probably not,
Yeah.
though, because he's been in the ocean all this time. He probably still has stories, though.
It's fucking wet down here, guys.
It was wet as fuck.
Yo, there's something I found out the other day, too. I forget what they're called. Like, they're kind of like little, like, wiener-looking things in the ocean. And if you've seen SpongeBob in that episode
Eels?
where he's like, what?
Eels?
No. They're like look like plants. They're not anemones.
Not barnacles.
Okay, well, hold on, let me
cucumbers?
tell you what I'm talking about. Is that, have you seen SpongeBob?
Yes.
So there's one episode where he's like he's home alone and he puts on the TV show, and it's like this one little plant thing moving around, and then Gary comes around and he's like, Gary, and then he switches the channel real quick. It's one of those things.
It's not a sea cucumber. It's a
Fuck.
I know exactly what it is, and I can't.
But either way,
remember the
they
name.
can fucking move. And I just saw a video of it like uprooting itself and then just like flopping, swimming away elsewhere just to protect itself. And I never knew they could move.
There's like a lot of plant species, technically, or not. I mean, I don't know if those.
I don't think they're
I don't know
plants.
if those are technically plants, but there's a lot of plant, or just like not what we would call like animal life. I don't know the fucking the specifications of how you determine species, but there's a lot of things like plants that fucking move in the ocean that like can actually move and go different places knowingly, which is crazy.
That reminds me, on the topic of animals, I was on an eel kick one day, and this video was just talking about how the scientists used to think these 4 different eels were all different species, but it was literally just different cycles of its life, and they changed colors and shapes, and they didn't know where they fucking bred. They'd never seen a baby one, and they went out to sea like near the Bermuda Triangle, and they would follow from England. They would go through, is that the Atlantic? And they would follow the fucking eels that are small, like closer to Europe, they'd have kind of medium-sized eels, and then when they get out to the Atlantic, they have like kind of smaller eels. And as they got closer to the Bermuda Triangle, they found little tiny baby eels, and they deduced that they were swimming all the way from Europe to Bermuda Triangle to breed and spawn. And it's just like that was something we never knew. Again, there was fucking hundreds of theories like throughout the past like half century or past like couple centuries of like where do these eels come from? Do they just come off like dirt? Like do they just scratch themselves against rocks and then that's how new eels form? They literally thought that because they didn't know what the fuck these eels were bred because they'd never seen them have sex. They'd never seen them give birth. They'd never seen any of this shit. And like you're saying, that just goes to show how little we fucking know about this place.
I mean, dude, when it comes to things like really weird species like that, like eels are kind of a weird ass species.
They're weirdly weird.
Like
Sea dicks.
what I get super into is extinct species that are just bananas. Like dinosaurs are the fucking tip of the iceberg to me. Dinosaurs are rad, don't get me wrong. I'm a big dinosaur guy, love a good dinosaur. But when it comes to extinct animals, they're not nearly the coolest.
Dude, like 10,000 to 50,000 years ago has some really fucking cool extinct animals.
No, if we're talking about millions of years ago though, like
I'm hip.
like fucking it gets nutty. Megafauna? Like what the fuck? Megafauna were a thing.
I don't know what that is.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
A megafauna.
Megafauna.
What's a fauna?
There's flora and fauna. Flora is plants and shit, and fauna is animals. So megafauna is basically just big ass fucking fauna. So versions of the animals we know today are just mega sized, essentially. Like the mega sloth.
That's what I was literally. That was literally what I was about to bring up. Is the mega sloth? Like,
Yeah, that's a megafauna.
That's such a cool fucking animal.
Yeah, the fact that sloths were essentially just big bears.
And just fucking like apex predators.
Well, they were still herbivores.
Oh.
But
bears in general.
But they were like unkillable. It's like nobody was fucking with the big sloths. It's just they didn't fuck with anybody else. It's like kind of how blue whales are. It's like nobody's no other predators attacking a blue whale, but they're harmless.
See, I have a newfound love for bears because they're just like, you just look at animals, and you just see how close everything looks like each other, like a camel and a cow and a horse and a sheep and a deer and a kangaroo and a mice and a giraffe and a zebra. Like they all look the fucking same, but bears just. They are so fucking mean and tough.
I would say bears and dogs have a lot of similarities in just their look, their features.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like all there's just so many
Wolves.
similarities between every mammals. To me, it seems like. But like bears, yeah, bears are just fucking ruthless, and they're such. Like I think the brown bear is the best. Like what, or maybe the black bear is one of the like best predators.
We've come so full circle that we're like obviously just Joe Rogan inspired, even subconsciously. This conversation has become about bears. That's like a Joe Rogan thing. That's like a exact stereotype of the Joe Rogan podcast is conversations about bears. Just kind of
like big
rooted in the
guys?
idea of like bears are fucking crazy, dude. Like they're
But they are.
No, they are fucking
If
nuts.
Joe Rogan's saying that, then he's definitely onto something because they're just so fucking cool. And they're so cute, too. But polar bears, they're not my favorite. I think brown bears are my favorite. Brown or black bears.
No, polar bears are my favorite by a mile. By a mile. Because they hunt
They're
people.
just like, what are you doing up there, bro? What are you doing?
They were like trying to survive until you guys melted the fucking ice caps on us. We were having a great time.
Like because that shit's melting too. They get anorexic or not anorexic. I'm not gonna say that. That I 100% take that back. Excuse me, pardon me. But they get very skinny because they can't feed enough, and their kids get skinny too because they're just running out of food up there.
Yeah, and habitat loss. Like they're gonna go extinct pretty soon, no doubt.
That's so fucking crazy too. I looked at an extinct species list, and like, you see stuff and you don't even realize it. You don't hear it in the news. You don't hear it anywhere. Like, oh, this species went extinct in 2019. I was looking at it. I was watching a video, and it was a bird. I don't know what bird it was, but I knew it was from like the bird was displayed in Rio, the movie. You remember Rio, the movie?
Yeah.
And like people were so sad in the comments, like, oh my god, it doesn't exist anymore. Like the bird in the movie is no longer a thing. Like no one, it's just dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
And
It,
I never knew about it.
well, the thing with extinctions is it all sounds so like, gloomy, but extinction is a necessary part of life. For
I'd agree.
like species have to go extinct because that's what evolution is all about. The more fit species to survive survives, and then other species perish in the process. But the reason it's such a stressed issue among environmentalists is that there's been, I believe, don't quote me on this, because
I'm gonna quote you.
it's been a while since I've looked into this with any sort of critical eye, but there's been about 5 mass extinctions throughout the known history of the world, over the span of millions and millions of years.
Yeah, hundreds of millions.
Yes, and I mean billions even. But there's been 5 mass extinctions. One was the asteroid that killed tons of species, like the dinosaurs. And the most recent one was the Ice Age, which killed tons of different species, a lot of them in the ocean. And we are currently experiencing the largest, by far, mass extinction since the Ice Age, and it's caused by people. Like, this is the first mass extinction that's not caused by a natural occurrence. I mean, wow. I guess it could be argued that we are a natural occurrence. We are of this earth, but we are causing it.
A thing to me is that, like, humans, like a couple 100,000 years ago, like 100,000 years ago, let's say, they were on the same playing field as fucking, like, tigers and lions and shit.
Yeah.
But, like, now I feel like we separate ourselves so much because we are, in a sense,
We're smarter.
Yeah. But, like, our ancestors were just literally out there, like, scavenging. Like, let's say, like, 2 million years ago when we were more, like, monkey-ish. Not Homo sapiens, but, one of our ancestors. Like, it's just crazy. Like, we're just out there with our fucking clubs. I don't even know if we had tools back then. But we're just out there trying to survive.
I think that depends on what part of human history you're looking at, because there used to be, I remember in our fraternity, my big brother, he was telling us about this, and it was the first and only time I've ever done Molly, and he was telling me about this, and it was just the perfect time to be told this piece of information, because Molly is a drug where you're just kind of open to any conversation that anybody wants to bring to you. Like, I'm not into shoelaces, but somebody could have brought it up and I would have been real into it. And he told me that and I looked this up afterwards just to kind of make sure he wasn't bullshitting me, but there were 3 different species of human that existed. I believe one of them is Homo sapiens. That's what we are now. Homo neanderthalis is the other big one, and then there's like Homo something with a P.
Sexual.
No, those all died off way before that. No, it's something with a P, and it was like they were only
Homo penis sucker,
like Paciferous or something, but it was like only in the islands. Like they were found only in one specific part of the world. But the big ones were Homo sapiens and Homo neanderthalis, and Neanderthals rather had had like small, like bigger heads, bigger skull
They had bigger
structures.
brains too.
They had bigger brains, but they weren't.
They had bigger everything.
But they weren't as smart. They weren't as intelligent.
They were pretty smart, but the only thing is that from what I've heard and read and absorbed is that they weren't like us in the sense where we were more social. Like, we had big clans. Like, we had 100 people clans. And they'd keep it small knit, like 10, like a family, like 5 to 15. And so they weren't spreading knowledge to each other like we were. If we found something out, like, we would be like, oh, well, we can do this. And because we weren't as strong as them, we had to use things like tools, like more spears or things to throw spears. And our technology just advanced more, and our social bonds got us to spread information to each other more. But Neanderthals needed a lot more energy because their bodies were bigger, and so they needed to eat more, and they weren't, they had brute fucking force. Like, they would fight animals. It's theorized that they would fight animals more head on, and we would, fight from a distance because we were smarter.
It's that it's the level of like socialism that like, or not socialism, totally different thing, Homo sapiens, big Bernie supporters, love AOC, love what's going on right now. No,
I know you love AOC.
I do love AOC. I love
Please
that.
refer
I
to
love that lady.
episode 31. Marry, fuck, kill, marry. What? I don't know what it was. Marry, fuck, kill, marry, fuck. Fuck, marry, kill. Yes.
Fuck, marry, kill. You used all the other options before you got there, but we farmed. We learned how to farm and learned agriculture, and they didn't. They stayed and remained hunter gatherers, which wasn't as sustainable. I don't know, man. Like, what gets me about that specifically is that you got these two major different species of what we would call human beings. They had to fuck each other.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
I'm sure you have Neanderthal genes in you. Look at you.
Damn. Well, nah, you right. My big fucking head.
Big Neanderthal. I was going to say something else. I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I mean, they had very small penises, which is, I mean, that's the Neanderthal that you've got in you. Those genetics have transpired to you. But they had to fuck each other. They had to.
No, they did, because we have there are people with Neanderthal genes in them, or like DNA,
which is
Europeans
nuts to me, because I mean, consider that for a second. Consider that there was a time in history where human beings were fucking other species on a regular basis, and it wasn't weird.
Yeah,
it's another species. That is literally that is totally alien to anything that you and I have ever even considered. Like,
yeah, but they're related enough to where they can actually have children together. So I mean, that doesn't mean it's too far off. Like, if we fucked a bear, we wouldn't have bear human hybrids.
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever tried?
Not yet. I don't think I ever will.
I mean,
unless I take a tour to Russia.
I know
I'm sure they have bear prostitutes there.
I think they do. I mean, look, there's plenty of bear prostitutes here. Plenty of bear prostitutes here. I mean, I can't believe we've been talking about bears and you haven't even brought up the other meaning of the fucking word bear.
I think I did at one point. I snuck it in. You might have not heard me.
I don't think you did. Because I was listening for it. I was listening.
You'll hear it. You'll hear it when you edit it, I think.
I was listening for you to make a joke about, big, hairy, gay guys and nothing. Because I was waiting to jump on it.
I don't think I'm into bear. I don't know.
Nah, you're into black dudes.
I mean...
And you know what? That's a thing for the gay community to answer, I suppose, as a whole. But when I think about bears, this might just be, my warped brain. I don't think about black bears.
Never. No, I don't either.
It doesn't come up, I think of like a big hairy white dude.
I don't think black people are as hairy as, like, they don't get as hairy. Like, in the realest sense, like,
no, they do.
I don't think black people has many. No,
they totally do.
I'm pretty sure black people don't have as much body hair, like arm hair. Like, do black people have arm hair?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because I mean,
they have different hair than us. The texture of their hair is different. That's the only big.
I know,
difference.
You got a hairy chest. But like, Asians don't have hairy arms usually, or legs, or sometimes they don't. Like I have Asian genes in me. I'm pretty sure that contributes to my no chest hair and like.
I mean, I think
I could be wrong.
I think if we're talking
about
I mean, Neanderthal and Asian together, it's just like, oh my God, where does it end? But
it's inverted.
But if we're talking about East Asian specifically, which would be like Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, I think that there is some merit to that like body hair isn't as prevalent as it is in other cultures, but I don't know. But I do know that like that black people have just as much body hair as we do. As like
I just don't feel like black people have arm hair, like much arm. I think some And I don't. I just don't think so.
I'm 99% sure.
Like I just Googled. I don't see any arm hair.
Like any arm hair, you're saying?
At least on the women sometimes. I don't know, but yeah, I think that some do have arm hair. It's like every people have some. Most people have arm hair, but like you're right. I think it's a little bit different textured.
Well, I think if you're just looking at like hair in general, you know, like black people's hair is coarser. So like and like my arm hair is just long strands of arm hair. And so it probably looks like I have more arm hair
Yeah.
for that
Is it-
reason.
Is it bad to say black people?
No.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. I feel like I could get called out for saying that.
By who's calling you out for saying
I
that?
don't know, man. I just don't know. We live in a day and age. We just trying to be. I'm just trying to be correct.
I don't know what a better term would be. I mean, it's certainly not African American because
Afro,
because black people don't all come from Africa.
and they're all American at this point.
Well, yeah.
Everyone's American here.
Well,
I feel like I don't know. I was gonna say I feel like some people may get disrespected by calling them African American because at this point you're just American.
well, I mean, even outside of that fact, even outside of the fact of like, yeah, we're all just American, so let's like drop that shit. Like if somebody's black, it doesn't necessarily mean that they, their cultural heritage is African. It could be, Middle Eastern. It could be South American.
Really?
There's black people all over the world. It's not just
Well,
all. It's not just all from Africa. I mean, if we're talking about it in like a sense of, like really
They're-
diving deep,
They're all from Africa.
everybody's from Africa. I'm like my heritage is from Africa. Everybody's is the human race all began in Africa. But if we're talking about it in more of a cultural sense of like where do they have cultural roots, it's not like every black person has cultural roots specifically from the continent of Africa.
Going back to humans, like early humans, that's the coolest thing is that like these motherfuckers were exactly like every animal out there, just running around trying to catch food and fucking survive.
Yeah, yeah. Louis C.K. has a joke about that. Like, he had a joke about that a long time ago about how human beings escaped the food chain, and it's so bizarre that we're like the only animal that's ever done that, is escaped the food chain and transcended it. That we've
That's
beat
cool as
that
hell.
process, that we don't have to worry about that. And the joke kind of went like how you're not going to work and you just be like running from a fucking predator, being like, holy shit, like. That never happens because we've gotten to a point where it's not even a concern of ours anymore.
That's crazy. Because I don't think. The thing is, too, like, our brains can. I don't know how fast they can develop in the sense where our technologies are where they're at and our brains have. I'm sure they develop more slowly than they do our technologies. And so the fact that we're so advanced right now and our brains are probably somewhat primitive to. Or near the same as to like 10,000 years ago. It's an interesting concept because
Yeah, but I think that there are slight evolutions because evolution takes obviously, many, many, many generations. But I do think there are slight evolutions because there's a theory that I
Yeah.
really like that talks about ADD and ADHD, that they are not disorders, but they are rather evolutions. Because evolution is not necessarily a good or bad thing. Like that's a big
change.
misconception about it, is that it's like evolution is always like an advancement. It can just be a genetic change that happened for whatever reason. And there's a theory that ADD and ADHD is a genetic change that happened to people because of technology and because of the the fast pace of our lifestyle.
Wow.
And it's like our brain trying to adapt to this and be like, all right, we got to move faster and do things faster and focus on more things than one. And it's, I guess an overcorrection. I'm not sure, but think that theory is at least interesting.
I could see that. Just trying to keep up with the ever-moving, fast-pacedness of our society.
We do live in a society. If you
I
were
like
wondering.
seeing that. I like seeing that.
If you're wondering, like, where do we live? It's a
Let's
society.
go!
Let's go, everybody. Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
baby. I was watching
Packing the mail. It's gone.
what the fuck was that?
It's the
I
fucking
never-
first lyrics of that song.
Oh, when you say it like that, it just doesn't sound right.
Packing the mail. It's gone.
I thought you were trying to be Jim Carrey for a second. Or
Nah,
something.
I'm just on the
Back
phone.
of the mail.
I was just on the phone with USPS.
God damn, my brain just farted. Like
I was
it's
just
stinky.
like, "Where's my mail?" And they were like, "It's gone." And I'm like, "All right, packing the mail. It's gone."
God damn you. God damn you to hell.
What is he saying there? That's like an interesting question, existential
the mail?
question. What is he talking about?
Talking about his packing his mail.
Is he just
Fuck
talking
else could he
like?
talking
But
about?
what is he talking? What is he shipping?
The pack.
But like what?
Marijuana.
How do you know?
Because what else is pack?
No, a pack, like a package.
It's not a package.
How do you know?
Because it's not. He's a rapper. He's rapping about the pack.
That is so reductive. Oh my god.
But it
that actually
is.
offends me. I'm
right,
offended
what do you-
for
okay,
all the
let's-
rappers out there. You know about NF? You know about
Okay.
KJ52, all these young Christian rappers out here just trying to make a living, trying to do it all for Jesus.
If a rapper said, I got the gas in the blunt, what does he mean?
Well,
Does he have gasoline?
What's a
and
blunt? Using it as a noun, what is anything else that could be considered a blunt?
Like a blunt object, I guess.
No, like a noun though, not because that's a descriptor word. Like that's
A thing, like a blunt, like a piece of metal, a blunt piece of metal.
But that would
I
be a
don't know.
blunt piece of metal. That wouldn't be a blunt. You wouldn't call that a blunt.
So the cigarillo.
Yeah.
So yeah. But you don't know he's actually talking about gas.
No, okay. Like these are two very.
I hear what
different
you're saying, you
scenarios.
motherfucker.
These
Yes.
are two very different scenarios. Because if you're saying packing the mail, yes, of course it could be equated to weed. Like, oh, he's talking about weed, but we don't know that. I saw the music video, dressed up as a mailman, throwing packages on people's lawns. You're saying that's all weed?
I'm the baby. I think it is. I think it's all weed.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, so I was.
I don't know. I
watching
mean,
the,
he's $1 billion baby. I feel like he's diversifying his drug market. If he's selling drugs, like why would he only be selling marijuana? Why wouldn't he be selling other things that are way more profitable?
Because you do that shit legally probably now. And
Yeah, but
wherever
I
he's
mean-
at, Cali. That's why. That makes sense.
So he's
don't
just
it?
operating a marijuana business?
Hell yeah.
That's like the wackest thing to rap about. I think if you're trying to be like, oh yeah, like I'm a cool like
Dude,
rapper, I break all the rules. Nah, like I filed to become an LLC.
I want to make some bars about like I was on my scooter the other day and I was like thinking about like damn I make some bars like I don't need to trap like made my money off stocks or made my money off crypto, flip that shit, some shit like that. But you gotta make it sound nice. But it could be. I think it could work.
TJX6 might be in that world already. He might be in that lane.
I don't know who that is.
He's the scam rapper. Guy that like makes rap songs about like
Scamming.
how to like perform credit card fraud at a Walmart. Interesting music.
Yeah, that's
Weird
interesting
flow.
concept.
Weird flow. I like the way he raps though, because it's very storytelling. But I think he might be in that in that lane already of rapping about cryptocurrency, but I'm not exactly sure. One of my favorite lines ever is from an Earl Sweatshirt song with Tyler, the creator, on the hook, where he said, Posted bummy on the block like I ain't make $250,000 off of socks.
I like that.
You know, like the whole chorus, he's saying like um, something about like he's got ice on his neck, but the dollar menu still be on deck. Like, you know, talking about like, he's still living this bummy lifestyle, but he's got all this money now. And I just think that's like the craziest flex ever. It's like I ain't make $250,000 off of socks.
Yeah, Tyler said something like that too. Obviously, Odd Future. I heard Kodak say that in a song as well. I'm like, who the fuck? Are you selling socks? Who the fuck is wearing Kodak socks? Did you just steal that off of fucking Tyler and
What if
and Earl?
What if a Kodak Black just owns Hanes and nobody knew about it?
I feel like I'd see more product placement, but
No, he doesn't. He doesn't like to mix his businesses like that. He's like, it's not cool to rap about being the the CEO of Hanes.
What if Hanes just becomes like fucking everyone's trying to get Hanes, like just how Champion became a thing like pretty recently. Like it was always a thing, but people started rocking Champion.
I mean, yeah, like New Balance kind of became cool again.
Yeah,
There's a couple brands that like used to be like dad brands or whatever, and now they're sort of coming back into vogue.
dude, I had a Kappa sweater for like fucking 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. And I got it when I was in like the 7th grade. And I was just like, I'm never going to wear this. This is like a XXL. Like, it looks like a lady. I always thought that the Kappa sign, like the Kappa logo was like a lady spreading her legs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm never going to wear this. But I've been wearing it recently because it's like dope as fuck. And I like big clothes. Big tops, small, like short shorts, big sweaters. And I'm just fucking repping it. And someone gave it to me for free, actually. So
I used to wear this sweatshirt or this zip up all the time. That was by this company LRG, large, and it's a brand like I don't really know about, but it's my buddy who was way more fashion inclined than I ever was. He gave me because it was way too big for him, but he found it at a thrift store and he recognized the brand because he knows all the streetwear brands and shit. He was like, "You want this?" And it was like Rasta colors, and it was really cool, but it was way too big for me too. But I wore it all the time because I'm like, it's like the only cool streetwear thing I own. And I looked up the brand later on, and it's like, I was thinking like, does Wiz fucking Khalifa own this shit? Because it's all like Rasta colors, all very like marijuana related. But it was a dope zip up.
you still got it?
No, I don't even know what happened to it. It's one of those pieces of clothes that I'm just like, I have no fucking idea where. I definitely didn't throw it away, but I don't know where the hell it could have gone.
Dude, volunteering at a thrift store, it's almost shattering seeing how much shit they throw out just because they can't, at least the one I was at, just because they can't take all the shit in. And so they just toss so much shit that it could be used. It's like, and the amount of clothes that just come in, like if someone's dead or, people just got clothes in their closet that they don't care about, like you can find some really good stuff there and it's so fucking cool.
No, that's how you find some dope clothes. Is you just look at your local obituaries to see who died and be like, oh man, that guy looked like a G. Like I bet he was wearing some crazy threads. And then you just look at your Goodwills in the area, and then you just peruse them and be like, oh man, I found fucking Rick's old smoking jacket. This shit is sick.
And it smells just like Marlboros.
What Doug Stanhope had, I keep referencing comedians just because they come in, like their exact bits that they did are coming to my mind when we're talking about these things. But I think Doug Stanhope had this joke where he said, I think obituaries they should put people's sizes, like their measurements, so that you can like so that I can cut out this middleman when I'm looking for thrift store clothes.
Oh my god. It's fucked up and funny.
I
hell.
think about this now. Like the clothes that I wear now, or just that any of us wear, that we kind of think are whatever or what. Like I don't wear Vineyard Vines, but Vineyard Vines is kind of like a whack ass brand to wear now. Like you kind of get labeled as like just some corny ass white dude wearing Vineyard Vines. Like it's kind of a corny thing to wear.
Chubby's, Vineyard Vines.
Yeah, those sort of things. Like they're not cool. They're certainly not cool. Or
they're cool.
Like they're cool, but they're not like accepted in like the fashion world as like super duper cool. The same way that like a Gucci or a Louis is, you know, like the in that way. Or I guess they're not in the same caliber because of the price, but like if you're talking about like Supreme, I mean even Supreme is kind of going out of style, but like Supreme is kind of considered a really cool streetwear brand when you think about, or Bape or something like that. But if you think about fucking, you know, goddamn Vineyard Vines, it's not held in that same regard. And you're never gonna see like rappers wearing Vineyard Vines.
Maybe. I remember I wanted when I was in like freshman year college, senior year of high school, maybe sophomore year. I was like, you know, I'm gonna be the fucking rapper that wears my Sperry's, and I'm gonna be the rapper that just, you know, reps my Nova Boy style. But
Sperry's
also,
suck.
Sperry's
I'll say
are
that on
great.
camera. Sperry's are the
Sperry's
worst.
are
They're
great.
uncomfortable.
They're so comfy.
They stink after you wear them
They-
3 times.
They are leather. I don't know if leather stinks or not. Are they leather? I actually don't know. But
Whatever they're made of, they stink immediately.
dude, just get some fucking. Obviously, you never went to Catholic school, and obviously, your parents didn't love you, and obviously, you just hate yourself.
Oh yeah, my parents didn't love me, so they didn't send me to go get touched by some old creepy men in collars. I guess they didn't give a shit about me at all.
Wow, that is low. I miss my old Sperry's too. God damn it, you and Kyle fucking throwing out my $500 fucking dollars of shoes. I'm kidding.
I don't know if we've ever told that story on the podcast, but Mikey had
Should we do that real quick? Or should we do that?
Mikey had all these shoes in a garbage bag, which
$500 worth of shoes.
all in a garbage bag.
Hold up. Let me say my story. Let me say my side.
Okay.
So we were moving into our apartment after it was sophomore year, second semester. So it was after winter break, and I was moving my shit back to the apartment. And obviously I had shoes there, and I brought them back to home, and I'm bringing them back from home to college, and I put them in a paper bag, in a fucking trash bag, because like, what am I gonna fucking bring a whole ass suitcase for my shoes? Like I'm bringing like fucking 5-10 pairs of shoes, so I'm going to put them in a trash bag because that's a ghetto boy, and I have trash bags, and it just works. And so, I'll keep going. And so I ran into a little trouble with the law, and I got really scared one day because I had some police contact, and I thought they were gonna come into our apartment and raid the whole place. So I called Carson and and Kyle, I'm like, yo guys, like fucking throw this shit away, like get rid of all the weed shit, like the cops are onto us. And so they threw out all the weed shit.
And let me say my side from the apartment getting this news. Now, we were living a rambunctious lifestyle. Our apartment was very, let's say, criminal at the time. You know?
Yes, it was definitely.
A lot of marijuana shit all around. And we were underage and alcohol container, whatever. There was just a lot of shit
It was
that
bad.
like the cops could probably get us for. So we get this call from Mikey that says like, look, I've just got picked up by the police. They're probably coming to the apartment to raid the place. I don't know. And so we get real scared. And our apartment is also a disaster because we were gross. And there was garbage bags all over the place, just full of trash. Like it stunk. It was disgusting.
We lived there.
But that's what the situation was. And so Kyle and I were like, all right, let's get all this like marijuana paraphernalia and all this shit out of here. And in the process, like we're throwing away a lot of shit. We're also going to throw away all these trash bags, you know, just get rid of all this place, Febreze the place, like full sweep of this location. And one of the trash bags was a trash bag full of shoes. And in a panic state, we weren't checking every trash bag to see maybe this one's full of valuables. We were just thinking, it's a trash bag. It's full of trash. That is my side of the story.
So until a couple days later, I figured out that I was looking for my shoes, and I was like, where the fuck are my shoes? And I realized they threw them out, and I was so sad. And that night, I went to a party, and it was really rainy, and I went in my all fucking cream Yeezys, and they were destroyed. Although you can put them in the washer. But I don't really care at this point, but like I like to bust Kyle's balls. But one of our brothers. But I lost a pair of Jordans, Air Force or Jordan Retro 7s, Wallabies, or Clarks, if that's what they're called. Like 3 pairs of Vans, all black, some all reds, and then my fucking vintage limited edition, like white gray with roses. I actually don't. No. And then I lost my Crocs, a pair of Sperry's, And I think that's it. There might have been one or two more pairs, but that totals definitely up to $500 at least, which was sad. But it's whatever. I have shoes; they're replaceable. But I know in my heart. Obviously, the panic state is a big point. But I know that a trash bag full of shoes feels like a trash bag full of shoes.
Oh, fuck
but
you.
In a panic state, it makes sense. It makes sense. But if you put
They
your
also,
shoes
by the way, we're not in your room because we didn't throw away anything directly from your room. They were just in the foyer area of the apartment. So the assumption that it would be anything but trash when it's sitting next to tons of other bags of trash.
I don't know if we had all that trash in there at that point.
We definitely, because we were throwing away. Kyle and I made hella runs out of the window, throwing away big bags of trash. Like, we were just throwing away everything in that apartment. We just swept the fucking place.
Oh my god!
And it was one of many runs. Now I'm also sure that Kyle took that bag of shoes because I remember the deduction that you made of oh my god, my shoes got thrown away. Like, you guys threw away my shoes. And I remember going through my mental palace at that time, and I was like, nothing that I threw away was shoes. Nothing was a small enough bag that it would have just been shoes, and it was also heavy enough to be shoes. I only threw away giant bags of trash. So Kyle definitely threw away your shoes. I will throw him under the bus there, but I also will say it's not Kyle's fault.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It was a sad day. I was just a sad boy with that. But it's okay. And as I look at the time, it looks like we're coming to the end.
Yes.
Oh, I wish I had those shoes. But actually, I don't give a fuck anymore. But I will say, also, we were talking about all that nature shit earlier. I have been using Curiosity Stream. And I fucking love it. Because, I really thoroughly enjoy science and things of that nature. And this is not sponsored, by the way. It would be cool if it was. But it's about $3 a month or $15 a year. Maybe even cheaper than $15 a year if you have a coupon code, which I can definitely get you. But definitely check that out if you're into that kind of stuff. I watched a documentary about humans and our ancestors. It was about a 2-hour long documentary, and it just went over like I was saying, we were fucking monkeys running around trying to scavenge for food and berries and shit. And then, we're here fucking killing lions with our spears and shit. And it's just so cool. There's this one part where they were trying to recreate a boat mission that got a sailing of just natural things. And they made a boat out of fucking bamboo and also other things. And they tried to sail from fucking some part of China to Japan. And it was just cool as hell. And it was just such a primitive thing.
Well, go ahead and check that out. Check out videos of people watching trains. You can find a lot of those on YouTube. Check out our TikTok account at Let's Start Dreaming Podcast. Check out our Instagram at Wade and Lowkey. And if you're looking for some new threads, check out Mikey's website, thewidespread.com, THEWIDESPREAD.com.
New threads. That is such a cool way to say close.
That is a wicked way to say close. And you guys have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this podcast. And please stay safe and stay hydrated.
This is Mikey, signing out.
Been feeling
Disconnected now.
I get money. No, I'm reckless now.
I get high. Coming off the ground.
This life is a prison, someone let me out. Been feeling
Disconnected now.
I get money. No, I'm reckless now.
I get high. Coming off the ground.
This life is a prison, someone let me out.